In this recording, I'm going to talk about having love for animals or care for animals. Probably since the dawn of time, humans and animals have been linked, and there's a special relationship with humans and animals. Some in the scientific world would say humans are just another type of animal. It's probably true. Um, it feels weird saying that, being a human and looking at an animal and knowing how I feel when I'm petting a dog or a cat. But on some level, um, we're essentially both created creatures, or both creatures. That's how I put it. So the first source is in Bereshit, chapter 1, verse 30. This was in regard to the animals that were brought into the ark. And it said that, and to all the animals on land, to all the birds of the sky, and to everything that creeps on earth, in which there is the breath of life. So all of these things, the animals on the land, the birds in the sky, and everything that creeps on the earth, was considered asher bo nefesh ḥaya, meaning that which is the breath of life. So all life has life. All life is called nefesh ḥaya. The phrase nefesh ḥaya is referred to humans in another place, and Targum Onkelos actually translates that phrase nefesh ḥaya as speaking spirit, as in humans' ability to communicate. But it's interesting here in this pasuk, it's actually referring to all of life, animals in the sky, who crawl on the land, and it's more expansive than just humans. So the second source is in Bereshit chapter 9 verse 12, and it says, "And said Elohim, this is the sign that I set for the Berit between me and you and every living creature with you for all ages to come," which is the rainbow. Um, Interestingly enough, it seems to indicate that the Creator is being depicted as making a covenant with all of creation and not just with Noah and the descendants. And so the rainbow is thought of as the sign of the covenant between Noah and Hashem. Interesting that the pasuk mentions all of creation. The next source is actually considered to be a mitzvah. V'natati aseh besadecha livhemdecha ve'achalta v'seba'ata. I will provide grass in the fields for your animals, and then you shall eat and be satisfied. So this is something that if a person is praying every day or reads the Shema every day, they're going to be reciting this at least twice a day. Um, and the word then, I said the word then, but it's not really in the pasuk, but it's kind of hinted at because of the juxtaposition. I will provide grass in the fields for your animals, and you shall eat and be satisfied. In other words, it could be read to say, I will provide grass in the fields for your animals, and then, because that comes first before the end of the pasuk. And it is considered a mitzvah to feed your animals before you eat, assuming there's no life-threatening issue. The next source is a halacha from the Ben Ish Chai, Hacham Yosef Chaim from Iraq and Baghdad. He was basically like the chief rabbi of Iraq, and really like the whole uh, region from Iraq all the way towards India. People wrote him questions from everywhere, and so he has a book of halacha called the Ben Ish Chai. So he's known after the title of his book, and he basically wrote it as like 1 year and 2 years. So there's a breakdown of the first year and then the second year of halachot, and he writes a derasha on the parasha, and then he brings halachot from the derasha that he writes on the weekly parasha. Derasha is like his own interpretation of the parasha. And so there's a halacha here that's interesting. It's from the first year in parasha Beḥar Beḥuqotai, chapter 4, halacha 1. He states, "It's forbidden to eat until one has given food to his animal or his fowl that he has in his house when there is food there. It's written in Devarim 11:15, provide grass in the fields for your cattle, and then you shall eat and be satisfied. Only in drinking does humanity precede animals, as it's written in Bamidbar 20, chapter 20, verse 8. Thus you shall produce water for them from the rock and provide drink for the congregation and then their animals." So notice that he's making a point from the placement of the words in the pasuk. In Devarim, the placement of the word says the grass in the field for your animals comes first, and then you'll eat and be satisfied. In regard to drinking in Bamidbar, it's the other way around. So that's a halakha. He's essentially saying what I just said from Devarim 11:15. The next source, where is this? This is from Shemot chapter 20 verse 10. It's actually from the Ten Commandments and the commandment for Shabbat. But the seventh day is a Sabbath to Hashem your Elohim. You shall not do any melacha or any work, you, your children, your servants, or your cattle, or the sojourner who is with you. So the animals also rest, and this mitzvah is restated in Devarim chapter 5 verse 14. The next source is from Shemot chapter 23 verse 5, where it states, when you see the donkey of your enemy lying under its burden and would refrain from raising it, you must nevertheless raise it with him. So it seems on the surface that even when people have issues between each other, even enemies, they put aside their differences for the sake of alleviating the suffering of an animal. And the last source is going to be a more recent source from a ḥakhme from Iraq, or I'm sorry, he was Iraqi, but he was in Yerushalayim. His name was R Allwan Shimon Avidani, and so he wrote a book called Maasei Gedolim. And so he states the following in regard to showing mercy to all creatures, whether they be fish or birds or animal, not just to humanity. So he states, it is written, V'rachamav al kol ma'asav, and mercy extends upon all creation, from the fish in the sea to the birds in the sky, and even so over humanity who was made b'selem Elohim, in the image of Elohim. So that's the statement from R Allwan Shimon Avidani. Just a few sources. There's many more that could be referenced. There's the biblical prohibition of Sa'ar Ba'alei Chaim, which prohibits animal cruelty. Many others that I'm missing, but just for now, I will end there, and thank you for listening.